G'day Bruce, it's Jason Hawkins here from K&D Digital. Thanks for requesting a free analysis through our site. Hopefully you found some of the information on the site to be useful for your digital journey. I'm going to take you through some analysis on your site. Of note is your site's a one-pager with a shopping cart, so I can't there's not a whole lot of detail I can go into about usability necessarily, but I will say a few comments. Please take any criticism as constructive. Hopefully there's some ideas that can come out of it that can help you along your digital journey, and the growth of your business should come along nicely if you invest in a few of the ideas that come out of a few of these recommendations. So as I said, let's get into it. As I said, the site, as you know, is a one page. All the content is contained in the one page, and clicking down each of these pages just flows you through the page. Now, while that's great for a little startup business, and getting things rolling as a small business, it's not very good for search. So eventually you're going to want to flesh out some of the content around your service that you offer so that you can attract more content. Google loves fresh, juicy content about the service that you provide, and you're not really going to be able to get all that into one page. In fact, parts of the page all start to actually compete with each other because you've got different topics on the one page. So it's worth splitting them out. So, for example, you've got here a menu item that's mistakes. So rather than jumping down and talking about mistakes in your resume here, you would do multiple pages in the site, or even multiple resource pages within the site, or articles or blog topics that are around common resume mistakes. And so you've got a chance for those articles to appear in search on their own accord. Whereas, is your resume getting past the robots? That's if somebody is searching for that, just one paragraph here on your website probably isn't going to get the performance you need in organic search in Google Response. Whereas if you did a whole article around that was 1,000 words long, then you would start to rank really well with that. So I love the idea of this heat map, the visual components, but you could flesh out the content a lot more and really make that quite engaging for the user. I'll just pause because I just had. Okay, sorry about that. The other thing I had. What I do like that you've implemented are these testimonials. So this is really good. However, third parties are really testimonials are really good if they come from another place. So, for example, getting some of these your happy clients to do a Google review, for example, will hold more weight, and you could pull your Google review feed into this site to give it a bit more strength. So, for example, when I search for in Google, format my resume, your site would come up here, but also your Google My Business profile should come up here with your reviews. So make sure you've registered your domain and your business with Google My Business, and I've got a video about that actually on my in my channel that can give you some tips on how you can populate that with images and profile, etc., to really boost your performance in Google search, especially location search. Now, the interesting thing, and please don't take this as being too critical, but this is my first impression of your site, and you've got a background image that's blurry, and you've got content from your logo that doesn't contrast enough with the background, and you've got a strap line that says first impressions count, and you're reviewing resumes, or you're formatting resumes for professional look, but this isn't a great first impression. So I can't read these menu items, and this is not a solid, very presentable above the fold. So, filling this space design. So you may want to rethink the image that you're using here or the general template of the site to better improve, again, the first impressions. First impressions count, no doubt about it. You're absolutely right there, but it's the same on your website. The logo's good, but you need to embed some contrast. So if I was going next steps with this website, I'd be rolling these out in separate pages rather than having them in the same page, and really fleshing out the content. So digging down a little bit closer to the usability, they help me now loading to a buy now service. Your little probably WordPress shopping cart, your WooCommerce thing. I think that's quite a solid way to go, but you haven't necessarily built enough trust with the end user before you actually go and do this. So you're probably not going to get a whole lot of people buying here because you haven't spent the time on your site to build the trust. What does trust look like? So that could be examples of befores and afters. Here's a badly formatted resume. Here's a formatted resume by us. Doesn't it look awesome? Have the befores and afters in the page, or blog articles about befores and afters. You obviously will have to get the end user to your client to agree to put their resume online, and hey, there's plenty of resumes online, so I don't think you probably have a problem getting permission about that, or use lorem ipsum text or something. But I'd love to see some contrast with before and afters examples. The other thing that, as I said earlier, your resources. Now, you need to build trust and context before asking people just to subscribe to sign up for your newsletter. You probably are getting not the conversions that you would actually want to get here because you haven't given away some information first about what makes up a great resume or what makes a great cover letter, or some tips about LinkedIn or searching tips. In Google search, it's a very crowded market. There's so many tips and templates and tricks already out there that you're instantly competing with those as well with your whole site. So to combat that, you may want to really drive home that you're doing it. It's not an outsourced service. You're actually, you've got 20 years of professional experience, or really feature yourself and about self-build. People love to know the person behind the business or in the business, not necessarily just the business itself. So from a user perspective, you've got plenty of opportunity to really fill this out, and I'd love to see what this looked like in a year's time when you work on your content. This is a little bit perplexing and hidden, so that should really be its own page, where it's sort of hidden in a burger menu, which is really a little bit odd. Going to the first impression. So if I go to mistakes here, I'm clicking this and it's not actually changing. It is now, but it's just taken me to the same page. So there's a little bit of funny business going on with your site. I know I'm already on home, but because it's a one-page site, that's a bit strange. There was one thing that is interesting here. So here I am on the purchase page, and your logo's here, first impressions count, and the logo's crossing over into your resume formatting service. So this logo actually needs to be smaller in this block so it doesn't go drop down into your content. So, and even on a template, on a mobile, tablet sort of size here, you've got all sorts of crossover thing going on with menu. You've got a burger, you've got menu, you've got your logo, and everything competing, and you're selling a first impressions count. Those two things don't connect for me. I'm sorry to be hypercritical of that, but that's the reality. So that's that. Now, if we look at some of the technical background of the site, on a loading perspective, here's the test result for this site loading and web page speed test. You may have already done some of this. The site loads like 8.3 seconds. It's not fast, but it's not super slow either. I would imagine a one-page website to be loading faster than this. This first byte time of 2 seconds here is a bit too slow. That should be under a second, your first byte time. And you'd hope that a one-page website could load in at least under 5 seconds, closer to 4. So you probably need to do a little bit of caching or optimizing related to that. If I dig into the detail of the load of the site, a lot of your CSS is pretty tiny, which isn't too bad. You're loading some fonts here that are adding a little bit of time here. You've got a Google map that's 301ing, so that's doing a permanent redirect. You might want to revisit how your map is being embedded in the site and how this is working, because that's currently an error which causes a little bit of slow time, and your MailerLite system is adding a little bit of load time, but there may be not a lot you can actually do about that in the scheme of things. But with a little bit of caching, you could probably squeeze at least a few seconds out of the site in your load speed time. So if I look, as I said earlier, this is a very crowded space. So there's so many different terms here: resume templates, functional resume templates. You can write articles and do blog posts and videos and screen shares and everything around all of this stuff to generate quite a bit of traffic. It's going to take time to do, but that's what performing in Google is all about, is getting some of those searches. So with that in mind, your content. So if we go back to the homepage, this up here, you'll see this little tab. And at the moment it says home, format my resume. So really, this should be not your business name necessarily. It should be the key search terms that you're wanting to target. So might be improve my resume, upgrade my resume, make my resume look great, whatever that term is, or collection of phrases. That needs to be added to the title, to this, not we fix two main issues. It should be, resume formatting for industry professionals, or whatever that keyword phrase is going to be. And you start to get into some content here, but because you're in a one-page website, you're quite restricted about how the depth of SEO you can go into. You need to start to really build up the content over time to help improve your footprint inside Google. Get some people linking to your content because you're making, and then sharing that content in social media, getting on LinkedIn and really promoting that. And you could do some landing pages that offer a specific service, like improving your LinkedIn profile, or formatting the ultimate receptionist resume or the ultimate engineer's resume. What should that look like? All those sort of specific bits of content that people will be searching for. That's what makes a great website start to perform really well inside Google's search environment. So hopefully that's given you some ideas that you can take with you. And if you need a hand with some of that, don't hesitate to reach out. We're more than happy to give you a hand to move your site into a more full-featured engine that you can grow with over time. Good luck, Bruce, and we'll talk soon.